I would like to now welcome Dr. Dimitri Kapelianis. Thank you for joining us today to talk about marketing. Just a quick bio on Dr. Kapelianis. He is an associate professor of marketing and the director of the Center for Sales and Business Development at the Anderson School of Management. He teaches the core marketing class in the executive MBA program, the marketing strategy class in the regular traditional MBA program, and the professional selling and sales practicum classes at the undergraduate level. So he is also a member of the American Marketing Association and the Academy of Marketing Science. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Kapelianis, and you are happy to share your screen as well if you have something to share.
Lisa, thank you for the warm introduction, and hello everybody, and thank you for your interest in an MBA from the Anderson School of Management with a concentration in marketing. So what I want to do in the time that I have is tell you a little bit about marketing, the kind of content domain of marketing, what marketing covers. I want to share with you the profiles of a few students who have taken an MBA with a marketing concentration from Anderson and their career paths afterwards. So what kind of career can you expect to pursue if you have an MBA with a marketing concentration? And then having done that, I would like to show you the structure of the marketing concentration, what courses you're required to take, what elective courses are available to you, and then with our remaining time, open it up to Q&A. So let's first start off with the content domain of marketing. So if you think of marketing as a function, it's the voice of the customer within the firm. Marketing sits at the boundary between the firm and the market that it serves. So it's typically thought of as a boundary function. If you want to think of it in terms of accounting statements, then on the P&L statement, the profit and loss statement, marketing and sales are responsible for all the revenue generation functions that the firm carries out. If you go to the balance sheet of an organization, where you see marketing show up is typically in the intangibles under goodwill and brand equity. Marketing is responsible for those functions. So the kinds of topics that we will cover in our MBA marketing concentration focus first on this idea that marketing is the voice of the customer within the firm. So we'll study customer behavior or buyer behavior, similar concept. How do we learn about what our customers want? Well, marketing research becomes very important. So marketing analysis, marketing intelligence. Then you're not just serving the customer in a vacuum, you're doing that in a competitive environment. So understanding who the competition is and what their value proposition is becomes important. So in that context, we're studying marketing strategy as well. Staying with this theme of marketing being the voice of the firm, you know, we understand and acknowledge and realize that customers are different and they have different wants and desires. And so how do we take a broad, large, heterogeneous market and segment it into smaller, more homogeneous market segments? So this idea of segmentation, targeting, and positioning is really critical in marketing. And then having segmented the market and decided which segment or segments we want to target, we then start putting together a value proposition that creates value for those customers. So we start looking at product strategy. What product will we provide these customers, either a good or a service or a combination of the two? How will we price this product? How will we get it to our customers? So talking about channels of distribution and go-to-market strategies. And then finally, how will we promote this product to our consumers? And so here we start talking about advertising, sales force, personal selling, sales management, and social media. I want you to note kind of where I've left that topic of promotion to in my overlay, broad overview of marketing, because if you come to marketing for the first time and you know nothing about marketing, your perception might be that marketing is advertising, marketing is sales, marketing is social media. Yes, marketing certainly covers those areas, but it is broader and deeper than that. And kind of the organizing framework I like to use is to think about marketing as being the voice of the customer. How do we find out what the customer wants? How do we create a value proposition to meet those customers' wants and needs? And how do we do that better than the competition? And then finally, how do we do it profitably? So those are some of the content domains and areas that marketing covers. What kinds of careers can you expect to pursue in marketing? So if you give me just a moment, I want to share my screen with you. All right, so hopefully you're seeing a slide with 10 profiles on it. These are, last night I was just kind of looking through my LinkedIn profile and seeing who I connected to that took an MBA from Anderson with a marketing concentration, and where are they in their career now? And so I'm sharing this with you to give you a sense of the kinds of careers you could pursue if you have a MBA from Anderson with a marketing concentration. So Mirette is a product manager for HP, and what that means is she is doing all the things related to promoting the product, figuring out how to price the product, what segment of consumers are they going to target with this product, etc. Ryan Berryman works for the University of New Mexico. He's the Associate Athletic Director, so he's number 2 on the business development and finance side of athletics at UNM. And he's used his skills in marketing, social media, business development to grow in that position. Charlie Corey's title is medical account manager, and that doesn't really explain terribly well what he does. Charlie works for a company that has an oncology drug. His clients are major hospitals, especially hospitals that specialize in oncology or the treatment and care of cancer. He has a sales force of approximately 15 salespeople who report to him. And in terms of revenue, his unit generates about $250 million of sales per year. Shelby works for General Mills. She's based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and she's a category development manager. So within one category, say for example, breakfast cereals, she might have a smaller category that she's responsible for, and her job is to develop that category. Max Ebnother is my former research assistant. He's now in Portland, Oregon, working for Intel. His job title sounds super interesting. It's Scrum Master. And what that means is he is responsible for coordinating all the internal processes with inside Intel that bring a new product to market. Michael also works at General Mills. He's also based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he's a senior customer manager. And so what that means is he has certain key accounts, say for example, Smith's or Albertsons or Walmart, and he's responsible for managing those key accounts for General Mills. Philippe was an international student when he took my class at Anderson. Graduated with a marketing concentration from Anderson, and then returned to Bogota, Colombia, where he's now a marketing manager for Nestle, managing all of their coffee brands in Central America. Marie is an account development manager at HP. So both Mirette and Marie work for HP, but they have slightly different focuses. So Mirette's focus is on the product, Marie's focus is on the customer. Obviously, they're working very closely together and liaising, and Marie is helping Mirette think about what products should we develop that will meet the needs of this customer that I'm serving. Christian is currently a senior data analyst at backcountry.com. They are a outdoors recreation lifestyle company similar to REI. This is a job that he stepped into fairly recently. Before that, he was a senior research manager for Ameritest, one of America's largest research houses. So Christian has fairly strong analytical skills, and then took those analytical skills into a career where he was really working with analyzing customer data. And then finally, Trisha. Trisha is based here in Albuquerque. She works for Visit Albuquerque, and she is their director of research and market intelligence. So what I've tried to do here is kind of show you 10 profiles, students who graduated some time ago from UNM Anderson with a concentration in marketing and the kinds of careers that they are pursuing. All right, and then finally, what I want to do is show you the course structure for the MBA with a marketing concentration at Anderson. So I think Lisa has covered the core courses with you. So I'm not going to cover the core courses. I will focus just specifically on the marketing courses. And again, I'm going to share my screen with you. So if you just give me a minute to pull that up. All right, so let's scroll down a little bit and let me show you the marketing concentration courses. We have 3 required courses that you need to take for the marketing concentration. You've got to accumulate 15 credit hours in total from the marketing concentration. 3 courses are required. Our belief is no matter what you do in marketing, these are the 3 linchpin foundational courses. You need an understanding of buyer behavior. So that has traditionally been taught by Professor Brian Gillespie, and he focuses on how do consumers behave, why do they behave the way they do. Next, we have Management 581, that's Research for Marketing Management. So this course focuses on market research, understanding why customers behave the way they do, how large is the market sizing, pricing, conjoint analysis. It's got a blend of statistics in there as well. And then the last required course is Management 582, Marketing Strategy. Historically, that's the required course in the concentration that I have taught. A key component of that course is a client project. So we'll work collaboratively with Anderson Small Business Institute with a portfolio of clients in groups, identify a marketing related challenge for them, and then generate a marketing solution to that challenge. I like working with small clients because they normally give us really good access to data, give us good access to the organization, and are really interested in what we're doing. My students who take this class have a really excellent track record of performing well on these projects. For the last 7 years in a row, my students have been finalists at the National Small Business Institute competition. And in the last 7 years, my students have won that competition 3 times. Going then on to electives. These are not all the electives we offer. These are just kind of the ones that are currently on the slate. The slate does tend to change. So strategic logistics management, supply chain strategy, and data analytics. You'll see a relative emphasis on kind of more analytical courses, and then also on supply chain and logistics, partly because we believe that analytical skill strength gives you an advantage when you go out into the workforce. One new elective that we're working on developing, it won't be offered this spring, but we're hoping to offer it for the first time in fall 2020, is business development. So if you look at UNM Anderson's LinkedIn profile and you kind of look at what job functions our alums are most likely to do, most of them are currently working in business development. It's a central area in which Sandia National Labs and Los Alamos National Labs hires. And so it's kind of very important for us to develop some capability in that area. So at that point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go to Q&A and answer any questions that you might have. So let me see. So the first question that I see is, what is a good course to take as an introduction to what marketing would entail? So if you are admitted into the MBA, you're normally going to take 522 as a marketing core course, and that core course is a great, fantastic introduction to marketing. It's sort of a survey course that covers the entire domain of marketing in a broad and holistic manner. The subsequent courses then cover smaller, specific areas in greater depth. So if and when you're admitted into the MBA, Management 522, the marketing core courses, I think kind of just a really fantastic introduction to the discipline. I hope that was a good answer to the question. Do you think that an MBA is needed for most marketing jobs, or do you think the concentration? I'm not certain I understand this question totally. Let me have another go at reading it. Oh, okay. Do I think I need an MBA is needed for most marketing jobs, or do you think that the connections that are made within the MBA program are the most valuable part of it? And so I would answer that question in the form of an internet meme. Why not both? I'm not being totally flippant. I think both the content that we cover in the MBA and the connections that you will make during your MBA are both very, very valuable. And so I think the content's valuable. I think the connections are valuable. Both are valuable. And then the next question I've got up on the Q&A asks, would a marketing concentration be better for supply chain management or the operations management concentration? So the one way to kind of think about that question is, again, why not both? Marketing and operations at Andersen are both housed in the same department, and supply chain is the discipline that connects marketing and operations. So supply chain and marketing are basically concerned about exactly the same problem, just from totally diametrically opposite perspectives. So marketing looks at the supply chain and says, okay, I'm the firm. How do I get my product? What does my supply chain look like to get my product to the end user? Supply chain says, okay, I'm an intermediary in the channel of distribution. Who is going to supply me? How do I manage a portfolio of firms that are supplying me? It's the same problem, but it's a 180 different perspective on that same problem. So because of that understanding, we have worked traditionally kind of very closely in keeping marketing and operations closely aligned. So one thing that you could do, for example, is you could look at doing a dual concentration in marketing and operations as part of your MBA. And I think that would set you up fantastically for a career in supply chain management. All right, it looks like I've answered all the questions, I think. Yes, I think I've answered all the questions, and it looks like my time is up. So
hi, Dr. Kaplianis. I just wanted to ask you a quick question about marketing. And if you could just really briefly, we just have like another minute or so, if you could just briefly explain sort of what your motivation is for getting into this industry, explain.
Sure. So I've always loved influence and persuasion. That's kind of, I've been fascinated by people my entire life. Why do people do the things that they do, and how can we influence and persuade people to do something else? So, when I was young, I grew up in South Africa, and I would stay up overnight to watch American election results. So this past week, I would have stayed up 24 hours a day for the past 4 days to watch the votes being counted, because politics is an area in which influence and persuasion is critical. And then I thought, okay, well, I don't really want to do that. I love statistics. I loved influence and persuasion. And when I was an undergraduate student, I was fortunate to have a brilliant professor who kind of brought all those interests together: consumer behavior and statistics and influence and persuasion and advertising. And it all came together in marketing. And so that's my reason for the interest in the discipline. I love influence and persuasion. I love people. I love understanding people. I love trying to figure out why they behave the way they do, and seeing if I can influence and persuade people to behave differently as well. I've got one last question that I can see. Is there a course that touches on bringing operations, sales, and supply chain together? It seems they all tend to be on different sides of the fence and have issues working with each other. Kristen, there is exactly 100% a discipline that deals with this issue. It's called sales operations. So it's the application of operations techniques and skills to the domain of the sales force. We don't teach that course. It's a fairly specialized course, but if you reach out to me at my contact details, I'd be happy to chat with you about that, or point you in the direction of some resources that you can turn to find out more about that. And it's a great question. That area is almost always got a whole lot of conflict going on. Sales goes out and sells the product and brings in the revenue, and then operations is kind of meant to make certain that they are fulfilling the orders that sales has closed, and oftentimes there can be a big disconnect between those two areas.